yeah, like this. Yeah. So the first question I want to explain, because some students, when they draw the puzzle, the pieces here, it looks like it's hard to draw the pieces, with the perfect shape. Yeah. So a few students may have that question, right? So here, here the coordinates. Look at the, the pieces. So you may like to draw, in the, because you need to use appropriate numbers. Yeah. For some students, it's hard, yeah, but for other students, it may not be hard. So to solve that problem, I may like to post my numbers for your reference, yeah, because your scale could be different from my scale, right? The scale could be different. So, but you can use my number as a reference, yeah. Yeah. So if you want to scale, yeah. So because the relative ratio you can figure out. Yeah. So the first thing I can post are my numbers. So you can take a reference, so you can fix your, your shape, make it accurate. Yeah. So look better. So that's one thing I like to, first thing I like to explain. Second thing, there is another thing I forgot to mention in my project description. Because there is a small technical problem. Yeah. So related to this parallelogram. Yeah. Here, because one student showed me when do the rotation. Now, if we do the rotation on parallelogram, then the shape could change. Yeah, because the way we draw parallelogram, so we use the skew property, skew function in the transform property, then it may cause the shape change. Fortunately, in this example, we do not need to rotate parallelogram, right? So I want to make a small change. So you do not need to do, so your rotate button, you do not need to support rotation operation for parallelogram. Only this piece, okay? Only this piece you do not need to do rotation, okay? Yeah. Other pieces, then you need to do rotation, okay? For other pieces, because other pieces, your transform property can be used. Yeah. So let me go to my PowerPoint slide. I explain this question a little more because I can write annotations, yeah, to give you more detailed information. Yeah. So let me switch to PowerPoint slides and explain this question a little more. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let me change the pen color. Yeah. So here, to give you a little more detailed information, I like to talk about that in CSS there is a transform property we can use, right? Yeah. Yeah. So here I like to talk about in the CSS file that you use to produce the puzzle pieces. Yeah. For each piece, in order to support a rotation, you need to use this transform property, right? Colon, yeah. So the property name, property value, so you rotate. It's like you call rotate function, right? Yeah. At the beginning, 0 degree. Yeah. But later, you can change this number to get different degree rotation. Yeah, so you use a JavaScript function or jQuery function. So you change that degree number so you can make the piece, rotation on different pieces. Yeah. All right. So that's for rotation. But for the parallelogram piece, that piece a little special. Yeah. So here, parallelogram, that piece. In that piece, because when you draw that parallelogram shape, you need to use the transform property, right? Yeah. Based on the W3 schools, the shape, it gives several ways to draw different shapes. Based on the shape drawing way in W3 schools, you use the transform property. Yeah. But the function you use here, skew, you use that skew function, degree, certain degree, yeah. Here you cannot be the 0, right? So here let me use 30 degree, okay? It may not be right, just some non-zero number. So you produce that parallelogram shape. But the problem is, when you do rotation, then you call this skew function again, then the shape will change. Now, after rotation, then the skew will change the shape. And we don't want to see that. So for that reason, how do we avoid that question? Okay, so our update here. Now, the update here is do not do rotation. Do not do rotation on this piece. Okay. Yeah. So for this, you do not need to write rotation code on this parallelogram piece. Okay. Yeah. So the rotation, do rotation on the 6 pieces other than that parallelogram. Okay, parallelogram piece. Okay, that's our update. Okay. So in this way, we solve that rotation problem. Okay, yeah. Because for other 6 pieces, when you do rotation, no shape change. Yeah, no shape change. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. So that's the. If you have any other questions, let me know. Yeah, so I can, try to help you solve the technical problems. Yeah, and I will post in Canvas. I will post my piece parameters. The parameters I use to generate my puzzle pieces. Yeah. So you can use that for your reference. For those you do not get, good shape, good looking shape. Yeah. So you can use my numbers as a reference to make your own adjustment. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So let's go to our review part. So today the review part, I plan to do, I plan to do 4 things. Yeah. So if we have time, we'll try to complete. Otherwise, the last one we can leave to next class. Yeah. 4 topics. The first 3 for our 3 quizzes. I want to go through 3 quizzes one by one. So I open up all the answers. This afternoon I open up the answers to quiz 3 questions. Here I want to do some explanations. Yeah. So that's the first 3 topics. Number 4, I want to show you a few questions, regular expression questions. So give you a few more examples. Yeah. Because before the midterm, we cannot practice, right? Yeah, we don't have chance to practice regular expressions. Yeah. Just to give you a few more examples. Yeah. So you can, practice by yourselves. Yeah. And in the midterm, you will have a few regular expression questions. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So let's R1.1. Let's look at the questions of quiz 1. Yeah. The first question, in HTML by default, each element is draggable. No. Yeah. By default, it's not draggable. Okay. So you need to do something. You need to do some work. Okay? Yeah. So I give you a few examples. So in JavaScript, so you need to write some code, supporting draggable feature, and in jQuery, so you also need to, do something. Yeah. So it's false. Question number 2, in database design, when we consider the data deletion operation, the only way we can delete, physically removing. Yeah. It's false because I mentioned that important way to protect your data. We call it logical deletion. So yeah. So this way, logical deletion. Yeah, sorry. Logical, not physical, logical deletion. Yeah. This way, in your real-world applications, you need to think about this way to protect your data. Yeah. Because sometimes some business data could be very expensive to acquire. So if you, by some accident, you delete, that's a big loss. Yeah. So you need to recover or acquire it again. So you need to spend a lot of time and money. Yeah. So in that situation, you need to consider the logical deletion. Logical deletion, we set a special field. So for the row, yeah. So here, let me explain, just refresh your memory. So we know when we do deletion, we delete row by row, right? Yeah. For example, for this row, I create a field called a DL field. Yeah. DL field takes value 0 and 1. Okay. 0 means no deletion. Okay. So each row, this DL field 0, 1, 0. Okay. 1 means logical deletion. Yeah, logical deletion. But logical deletion, you only change this field value from 0 to 1. Okay? From 0 to 1. When you put a 1 here, when you display this table, you do not display. You do not display the rows with DL value equal to 1. Yeah. So in your query, you select, but you only select those rows with DL value equals 0. Okay. DL value equals 1, you do not display. Yeah. So, but your customers, when they see the data, yeah, those rows are gone, right? Yeah. The same as deleted. Yeah, those rows, yeah. They look like deleted. Yeah. Deleted. Yeah. But in your database, those rows still stored there. Right? If you want to recover those deleted data, yeah, sometimes, yeah, so later, yeah, so some people just tell you, yeah, it's a wrong deletion. Yeah. If you want to recover, very easy. You change the 1 back to 0. Okay? So you recover it easily. Change the DL value from 1 back to 0, then they can see the deleted rows again. Yeah, so that kind of recovery. Okay? Yeah. Only when you really know the data is deleted correctly, then you can physically remove that row. Yeah. So use the real deletion. So this is not a real deletion. Yeah. So this is a fake deletion. Yeah. Only when you're 100% sure certain rows can be physically deleted, then you use the real deletion operation. Yeah. So that's the story behind this question. Yeah. All right. Number 3, all the database management systems rely on certain database servers to run in order to provide the query services. False. Yeah. The reason there is a special case. Yeah. So this question, there is a special case. That special case, you do not, your DBMS is not running on remote database server. So the case, there is a called embedded DBMS. DBMS. Yeah. Yeah. So I use the mobile devices. Sometimes you want to use database queries in your mobile apps, for example, and you want your mobile apps work without internet connection. Yeah. Because when people travel, sometimes internet connection may not be available. Yeah. So in order to make sure your mobile app still works, so in that situation you can embed DBMS. So usually the whole DBMS the size is not very big. Yeah. So frequently less than 1 megabyte. Okay. The whole DBMS, we call it database engine. Yeah. Not a server. That server is too big, right? Yeah. But it is a DB engine. DB engine, the size less than 1 megabyte. So that is not too big. You can easily embed it in your mobile app. Yeah. Then all the basic queries. Yeah. So if it's not too complicated, too sophisticated, yeah, the basic queries, yeah, all basic queries. Join table, no problem. Okay. So most of the basic query operations you can do easily, yeah, with this DB engine. Yeah. So that special case, yeah, I talk about that. Yeah. So this question, we need to connect to that special case. Number 4, in a web application, is it a good idea to access the database from the Java? No, it's not a good idea, because JavaScript is the front end, and for security consideration, we do not allow front end to access database. Yeah. So the point is no access, no DB access. Okay, no DB access from the front end for security consideration. Yeah. JavaScript has the capability to access the databases. Yep. So there are a few ways people can access databases from JavaScript functions. Yeah. Yeah. So there are some technology packages so you can use to access databases from JavaScript. But don't do it. Yeah. Yeah. So never do in that way. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So that's a very important point or rule for web application development. Yeah. Question number 5. Is it possible that a SQL query that works in one DBMS may not work in? Yes, it's possible. May not work. So remember, we talked about the SQL. For the SQL, there are two parts, right? Typically, SQL two parts: the core part, and the extension part. Core part, extension part. The standard, core part standard, supported everywhere. Okay, yeah. Not standard. Yeah. So the extension part, then for different DBMS, the way to do the query is quite different. Yeah. So for that reason, yeah. So when you do the DBMS change, so you need to test each query statement. If it does not work, you need to rewrite it. Okay? Suppose you have, certain number of query statements you need to implement in one DBMS. If you switch to another one, each one you need to do the testing. Okay? Yeah. On the new DBMS. Yeah. If it does not work, then you need to study the document and do the conversion. Yeah. After you test it, the new conversion works, then you can rewrite. Yeah. So for each one, you need to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah. So you cannot just copy, to the new DBMS without testing. Yeah. So that's another important. So when you work in the real world applications. Number 6, can we say that all the DBMSs are no? Yeah, because the no SQL, right? Relational. Yeah. Yeah. The example is no SQL. They are not relational DBMS. Okay? Yeah. In that one, the queries are very simple. Yeah, but the NoSQL queries, people emphasize fast data search. Yeah. So that functionality is important. Yeah. Yeah, but you cannot do complex queries in NoSQL DBMS. Yeah. If you want to do complex queries, you need to switch to the relational DBMS. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Number 7, is it possible to use jQuery to implement draggable? Yes. Yeah. So we have example. Yeah. Some students already use in project 1. Yeah. Draggable feature, drag and drop. Yeah. Yeah. Number 8, does the Apache HTTP web server interpret the PHP programs in a PHP web application? No. Yeah. Apache server does not interpret. Right? Yeah. So question. The Apache server only send PHP files to PHP engine. Okay? Apache server sends PHP files to PHP engine for interpretation. Then get the result back, you know. Yeah. So there should be a configuration for the communication between Apache server and the PHP engine. Yeah. Configuration, how to do the communication. Yeah. But when we download XAMPP, we do not need to do configuration. Yeah. Because XAMPP already configured them, ready to go. Yeah. So we just, after the installation, you just use it directly. Yeah. Yeah. But you need to know that background. Yeah. Question number 9. We have an HTML file containing JavaScript code to add a dynamic content in this page. In order to run this HTML file, to see all the dynamic features, do we have to start with? No, we do not have to, right? Yeah? Because web browser supports all the features of JavaScript. And the web browser, we do not need a web server to run the web browser, right? Yeah. So you can double click the HTML file, so the web browser is open up. Your default web browser is open up, and so you can test your HTML files containing JavaScript code. So our project 1, we use this one. Yeah, our project 1, you do not need to start a web server, Apache server. So you just run directly on your computer. Yeah. Now, question number 10. Is it possible that one can develop PHP web application containing the jQuery code without using the internet? Yes. Remember, we can start a local server, right? Yeah. So develop PHP web application. Yeah. PHP web application. So we use a local. We use a local web server. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So the Apache server you download from XAMPP, that's a local server. Okay. Yeah. So for Java, people use Tomcat. Tomcat also is used as a local server. When you use a local server, you do not rely on internet. Okay. The local server, because it's running on the local host. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So HTTP:/localhost. The host name is localhost. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Localhost, the IP address 127.0.0.1. Okay. Localhost. Yeah. Then you access the server locally. Okay? Without going through internet. So even the internet is not available, you can still develop your web applications. All right. So that's the 10 questions of quiz 1. Yeah. Oh, let me answer it. Okay. Yeah. Is it? Sorry. Oh yeah. Just got it wrong. Yes. Yeah. It's possible. Yeah. It's possible. Yeah. 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 Right. Okay. Yeah. Then, questions. The first one, when we write our SQL queries, are we required to use the upper? No, we are not required, right, for the SQL keywords. But the community, in the community, it's a convention. People use uppercase to write the SQL keywords for better readability. Better readability. Yeah. Yeah. But when you read the technical articles, actually some authors, they use lower cases. Yeah. So you can see sometimes some authors, still use the lower cases writing the SQL keywords. Yeah. Yeah. So not required. Yeah. But most people still follow the convention. Yeah. Most people. Question number 2. Is it possible to store the necessary information about an image for users to access without storing the binary data? Yeah. In a table of a database? Yes. Not just possible. Actually, most people do in this way. Most people store the image data or multimedia data without using the binary format, because it's not convenient. So most people store the links, the URLs of the multimedia data. So URL point to the location. So URL, we know that's the text data. So URLs of the locations or location. Location could be in the local server or remote server. The location could be the, any server locations. In any server, okay? Yeah. Locations of the multimedia data. Yeah. So very convenient. Not binary data. Does the metadata of what it contains the no? Yeah. So metadata descriptive, right? Supporting data. Secondary, we also call it secondary data. Okay. Secondary data. Business data we call the primary data. Since the data redundancy problem would waste storage space and may result in inconsistent data, there is no reason to allow any data redundancy in our database diagram. False. Since part is correct. Since part is correct. But conclusion is not correct. Although, those drawbacks in the since part, the drawback, but we want to overcome those drawbacks, and sometimes we need certain data redundancy, so we call it controlled redundancy, in order to make the performance faster. So it may not be good. You remove all the redundancies. But sometimes it will remove all the redundancies for some operations, some SQL operations. the response time could be relatively long. Yeah. So you don't like to see those things. Yeah. Slow response. Yeah. So because the response time in your applications are very important. Yeah. So people are willing to spend more effort, take more effort on the controlled redundancy. Yeah. So we need to do a lot of work, more effort on controlled redundancy in exchange for faster query performance. Yeah. Question number 5. Is it possible to use SQL keyword as the name of a table field or column without causing any error? Yes. Remember that backtick, okay? Yeah. That backtick, yeah. Some keyword, yeah, between a pair of backtick, not single quotes, yeah, not single quotes. Yeah. So in that way, yeah. So the table name or field name, yeah. Table name also we can do in this way. Although here I didn't mention table name, yeah. So table field, so name of a table field, yeah, or table name, or name of a table, okay, table name. Yeah. When we use Java and PHP to write application programs to access databases, they use the same approach, different approach. So here, different approach to communicate with DBMS. False. Yeah. So how different? Java uses some uniform interfaces. Those interfaces we can use for all different DBMS. PHP does not use that kind of interfaces. PHP uses specific functions. For different DBMS, you need to use the corresponding set of functions. Yeah. But Java, not. Yeah. But Java, all the query, Java class, Java methods for different DBMS, all the same. Yeah. So that's quite different. That's quite two different ways. Yeah. So I spent quite some time explaining those two approaches. Yeah. So here I do not repeat that. Question number 7. Since the SQL language is an industry standard, any SQL statement can be executed by support. Yeah, it's false. Yeah. Yeah. So as I explained before, core part, extension part. Yeah. Core part, yeah. So then it's correct. Yeah. But extension part, yeah. lot of code needs to use the extension part. Yeah. So that means it's quite common now. People need to change a lot. So when they change the DBMS. Number 8, is it possible to access store procedure in a remote DBMS from different programming? Yes. Yep. So different programming language. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's in the current web technologies, it's very common in a big web application deployed in many different locations in the world. Yeah, so we call it distributed web applications. Then each module, people can use different programming language for each module. So by different modules. Yeah. So then they can access the DBMS, call the same stored procedures from different programming language. Yeah. Oh, so let me. Yeah, so that's question number 8. Number 9. Is it possible to use appropriate derived data to speed up the performance of certain complex? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Actually, that's the way. Yeah, because for some complex queries, it could happen. The time used to run that complex queries could be very slow. Yeah, very slow. Okay. Yeah. But you don't want your users, your customers, users. You don't want them wait so long. Even a few seconds, that's too long. Okay, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. That waiting time, that kind of waiting time, too long, not acceptable. So how to solve that problem? Yeah. So you produce the results ahead of time. So before the user make that request, you produce the data ahead of time, so you get a derived data, but you make it available in some ways in your database. So use the virtual table or physical table if you like to store the derived data. Then, when a user requests that data, so you can return immediately. So you can save a lot of response time. So that's the good way. Yeah. Number 10. When we have a database transaction that is formed by a sequence of queries, are we allowed to execute partially? No. Yeah. So the idea, the property we call the atomicity property, right? Yeah. Atomicity. Okay. That means you can only do these two cases, either 0, nothing, 0 or whole. The whole block of queries you need to execute at the same time. 0 or whole, nothing or whole block, but you cannot do partial execution. Yeah, so that idea. Yeah. All right, so that's the quiz number 2, 10 questions. Then number 3, quiz 3, 10 questions. Yeah. Let me look at how much time I have. All right, question number 1. Every SQL table must have a primary key. No. Not necessary. Yeah. Remember, I talked about that university database I mentioned. Yeah. So later when we do our second project, we need to use that university database. There are 5 tables. The first 3, there are primary keys, but last 2, no primary keys. Yeah. So as to be useful in the real world applications. And sometimes some tables they may contain duplicate rows. When a table contains duplicate rows, there is no primary key. There is no key. There is no key field. Yeah. Because if you have a key field, that means the table cannot contain duplicate rows. Yeah. All right? Yeah. Because that's the definition of a key field. Yeah. Based on that. Yeah. Key field requires the data unique with respect to one field, right? If data is unique, data has the unique values with respect to one particular field, then no duplicate rows. Even when you look at one particular field, no duplicate values, then for the whole table, you look at all the rows, no duplicate rows. Yeah. So that's the logic. Yeah. Must have. That's false. That's false. All right. Question number 2, null value. When we use the null value as a field value in the SQL table, we always mean that this value is unknown, but it is. We have several different meanings, right? Yeah. This is the one of the possibilities. One of the possibilities. Okay? So even the meaning we talk about in class, yeah. So that's just some of the cases. Yeah. So you may have more other cases. Yeah. Yeah. Null value, just something. If you use a normal value, you may, because you cannot represent something not quite right. You need to fix it later. You cannot represent that meaning. Yeah. So you use the null value, so some alert, some kind of alert, to tell people, so you need to think about. So there is some potential problem that could happen. So that's just a possibility. But in our employee table of the company database, when an employee does not have supervisor, so there are 7 employees without supervisors, so you use the null value. So in that case, that's the normal case, right? Yeah. Some employees do not have the supervisors. That's the normal case. Although you use the null value, but still okay. So for that normal case, you can still use the null value. Question number 3. The object-oriented databases are very popular. Not very popular. Rarely used, actually. Rarely used in the business world because of the widespread usage of the object-oriented programming in the software development. No. Although people use object-oriented programming, software development, but that type of database is actually, very hard to use. Very hard to use. So, all right. Question number 4. In a Java web application, is it possible to copy the data stored in a Java Bean to a SQL table of a database automatically without writing the data retrieval code from the Java Bean and the data insertion code into the table? Yes. Remember, so actually this way is very popular in industry. We call it ORM technology. Okay? Object Relation Mapping, ORM. technology. Okay. ORN. Okay. Yeah. So you can make your data copy more efficient. So you do not need to write a lot of basic code. Yeah. Because that kind of data copy, the code is very basic, tedious. You can save a lot of tedious work. Yeah. Because think about it, you may have hundreds of tables, right? Yeah. You may need to copy data for those hundreds of tables. So that's a lot of work. Yeah. But with the mapping technology, ORN, yeah. So such code, retrieve, modification, basic. So this kind of data copy we typically use for relatively simple queries. If for very complex queries, then we need to do the manual query operation. Yeah, we cannot do this kind of automatic operation. This operation is automatic. Okay. Yeah. Well, the automatic operations for relatively simple queries. Yeah. So this for typically when you use this method for what do you do for relatively simple queries. For very complex queries, then this way may not be available. Okay, this way may not be available. Yeah. So for complex queries, you need to manipulate your data manually. So this is the automatic way to manipulate data. But for complex queries, you need to write the code manually. Okay? Not this kind of auto way. Okay, auto way. That's auto way. Manual. So that's reasonable, right? Yeah, that's reasonable. Because the reason is simple. The ORM technology does not support complex queries. Okay? Yeah. Only support basic queries. ORM technologies support basic queries. Yeah. Not complex queries. All right. Number 5. All the databases must contain the metadata in order to support the storage of the false. Yeah. So here, all the databases, think about the two types. Yeah. Relational DB. Yeah. Yes, right? NoSQL, SQL, non-traditional. You do not use the metadata. Okay? Yeah. NoSQL, you do not use. The reason is simple. The structure too. The structure is so simple. Why you need to use metadata, right? The structure is key value pairs, key value. The name of the parameter and the value of the parameter. that structure. So you never need to use more complex metadata to describe your data. Yeah. Number 6, suppose that a SQL table does not have any key field. Key field, we know, unique values, right? Yeah. So here, you need to focus on, so you need the unique values. Yeah. So a SQL table does not have any key field. That means, no field takes unique values. Yeah. Is it possible for us to find a way to define primary key for this table? Yes. We can use multiple fields, right? So the composite, we call it composite primary key using multiple fields. Okay, yeah. Multiple fields. As a possibility, okay? Yeah. As a possibility. So that means it may not work sometimes. Sometimes you can use multiple multiple fields to define a composite primary key. But sometimes you cannot. Sometimes you can never find composite key. Yeah. If the table contains duplicate rows, then you can never find the composite primary key. Yeah. Duplicate rows. Yeah. Because you cannot separate. You cannot use any primary key to separate those duplicate rows. Yeah. Yeah. Number 7 question. Which of the following is the right way for us to treat a SQL table multiset? Right? Yeah. SQL table multiset. Yeah. That means it allows duplicate rows. Multiset. Number 8. In the formal relational model, is it allowed that a table can have duplicate rows? No. No. Formal relational model, that table must be a set, not a multiset. Okay? So if it's a set, then no duplicate rows allowed. Yeah. Number 9, in a SQL table for any field that does not allow the null value, we have to declare the not null constraint explicitly false. False. Because the primary key, you do not need to declare not null constraint, right? Yeah. By default, primary key cannot take the null value by default. So no explicit declaration. Yeah. Yeah. So the special case is that primary key. Primary key as the counter example. Okay. Yeah. Counter example. Last question. When we compare two field values in a SQL table that are both null using the equals operator, equal sign operator, we treat them as an equal value false. If we use the equal sign for the comparison, those two different null values you treat as different values. Yeah. The reason is simple, because those two null values later, after some time, the real values could be available sometime later. When the real values for those two places available, it's very likely their real values are different, right? Very likely their values are different. Yeah. So then DBMs just treat them as different values. Yeah. All right. Then the part number 4, I only have 3 examples. Yeah, let me see if I can finish today. Okay, so we have 9 minutes. Yeah, but I only have 3 examples. So let's see how much we can go. Yeah. The first one, example 1, list the first name, the last name of those employees whose first name have the number of characters between. Yeah, here we only focus on the regular expression part. Yeah. So the number of characters between 3 and 6 inclusive. Yeah. So here there are 2 possible solutions. The first one, we do not use the regular expression. First example, we use the length function, remember? So there is a length function in MySQL, length function. So the length function of the first name less than or equal to 6. Yeah. And, yeah, so we use a Boolean operator, right? And Boolean operator, length of the first name greater or equal to 3. Yeah, so that's the first solution. Second solution, we can use the regular expression. Yeah, yeah. Try to understand this regular expression. Okay, this beginning, right? So this symbol, beginning, matching the beginning of the string. Beginning of the string. Dot, a character. Okay, yeah. So one single character. Yeah. So the name, one character, repeated from 3 through 6. Yeah. 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 Starting from 3 characters, 3, 4, 5, 6 inclusive. Yeah. Then and $sign. Yeah. And end of the string. Yeah. So this way. Okay. Regular expression way. All right, so that's the first example. Second example, list the first name, last name, those employees whose addresses contain no digit. Let's look at the description for the regular expression part. No digit other than the street numbers. So at the beginning, yeah, we need some digits for the street numbers. After that, the remaining no digit. Yeah. So we need to represent that pattern. Yeah. Although you can write different solutions. Yeah. Here I just, use this way. So beginning, so you know the meaning, beginning, after that, digit. Each digit, so one digit in this bracket, yeah, the option, the digit expression 1. So this is 1 digit. After this plus sign we know 1 or more, right? 1 or more. Okay, yeah, so repeat it multiple times, yeah, any number of times, yeah, at least 1, yeah. After that, a space character. After that space. So we want to separate the space character used as a separator. Separate the street number and the remaining of the string. Yeah. After that separator in the remaining part of the string, we do not allow any digit. We do not allow any digit. Okay? Yeah. So how do we do that? Inside a pair of brackets, not. Yeah. So remember, so this means not. Yeah. Not digit. Any character is okay, but not digit. So not those after this not symbol. Yeah. So non-digit you can treat as this pair of brackets represent non-digit character. Non-digit character. Then repeated 0 or more. Could be 0, 0 or more, star. Then, until you reach the end, $, you reach the end. Because if you do not use the $, then after this pattern, anything can follow. Anything can follow, including digit can also follow. So you have to use that $, until you reach the end of the string. Then no digit can appear in the remaining part after space character. That's the meaning. All right, so we have the last example, so we can finish today. Before the end of class. This is last example. List the first name, last name of those employees whose addresses contain at least $1. Okay, at least $1, and at least one dot sign. That's simple. So 2 parts. But these 2 parts, it's better we separate these 2 patterns. We separate. But if you want to use one regular expression to cover these 2 requirements, then relatively harder. So here we want to use an easier way. Easier way, we use one regular expression pattern for the first part. The second regular expression for the second part. Then we use a logic operator to connect them, combine them. That way, much easier. So let's look at the answer. All right, so address, reg, xp, and AND. Okay, so this AND, we split 2 patterns. The first pattern, address contains at least $1. The $, we need to escape it, right? We need to use double backslash to escape the special meaning of the $. So it's not the end of the string. That's special meaning. So we use its literal meaning, $. Double backslash. All right. Here, matching this one, that's the at least $1. Okay? Because if you have more than $1 sign, still this expression is true. Similarly, the second part, double backslash escape, that dot special meaning. So we use its literal meaning. Okay, but you match this part, that means you have at least one dot sign. Okay, and then we use AND logic operator, connect them. Then the order is not important, right? Which one appears first? $sign appears first, or dot sign appears first, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Otherwise, if some students want to use one regular expression pattern to cover both parts, then it's hard. It's much harder. Why? Because you need to consider the order, right? You need to consider, is dot appears first or $sign appears first? You need to consider that several possibilities. But in this way, we use logical operator this way. The order is not important. All right, so that's, we have to stop right here, already 8:10, All right, so let's stop right here, So then you take a short full break, So although you still have some work, but after you submit your homework assignment number 1, I will complete the grading as soon as possible. So in the weekend, you can prepare for your midterm. So I try to post the answers in the weekend, so you can